Foskett, and this is Worcester By Bike. Good morning, welcome to episode 11 of Worcester By Bike. It's 4th of July weekend, it's the Friday after the 4th, so traffic is a little lighter. There's not as many people around down here in the Common. It's a beautiful day, sunny. It's been sunny for a couple days now. Sometimes you get ride fatigue. And by ride fatigue, I don't mean physically. Obviously, the more you ride your bike, the actually easier it gets. But it's mean mentally. You get bored with the same loops over and over again. You just get tired of going to the same places, doing the same things. So sometimes it's good just to dial it back, mix it up a little bit, go for a ride just to go for a ride. One fun way of mixing that up a little bit is the cafe stop sort of theme of adding food and drink into the mix. That's always a good motivator for getting out on a bike, so you get to eat. So we're gonna do that a little bit this morning. We'll talk a little bit about, riding itself, go over a few things. We're gonna have fun. Now, in a city with a gazillion insanely obscure historical markers, this is probably my favorite insanely obscure historical marker in the city. It's tucked in literally right behind the big bank building on the corner of Elm and Main Street. Now, what city or town in central Mass would have any respect for itself without a nice George Washington was here reference? If you spend any decent amount of time on a bike, you're gonna get yelled at some point. Someone's gonna stick their head out of a car and yell at you, either just to try to rattle you or because they think that you shouldn't be there. Just last week, I got yelled at by some guy in a Subaru. Said, "You should be on the sidewalk." No, not the case. You actually shouldn't be on the sidewalk. That's not to say I'm telling you is get off that sidewalk all the time. And take my advice with a grain of salt. I'm just a bike dork who rides all the time, not an expert. But use your best judgment. There's some roads in the city that are just so horrible and so unfriendly to cyclists. I'm looking at you, Goldstar Boulevard. This is the worst. The worst for cyclists, worst for pedestrians. It's not even good in a car. Goldstar Boulevard. Get me out of here. That, you probably should hop on the sidewalk. Especially if you're not super comfortable on a bike. Just be reasonable. Use reasonable judgment. Now you see this may use the full lane kind of thing right here. I always feel like it's misleading because it kind of gives motorists the impression that in this area you have to share the road with cars, but everywhere else in the city all bets are off. When in fact, under the law, cyclists have the right to the road like any other car does, unless it's posted, no cycling or 290, that kind of stuff. So get out there, get on the street, act like you belong there because you do. There is specific law on the books in Massachusetts regarding bikes, riding bikes, but generally it's not too complicated. It's following the rules of the road, but then it's also, there's some exceptions, there's some nods to cyclists per se. You have you can pass on the right, that's one thing. Use hand signals, but if it's not safe to do it, then you don't have to. If you're gonna have to take your hand off the handlebars going down a hill or something to signal a right, then by all means, don't bother signaling. Things like that. There's a lot of safety stuff, helmets, reflectors, lights, brakes, that kind of thing, which is basic stuff. But if you go to massbike.org, they have a nice little link and a little summary of the law. Two things that aren't in the bike law that I think that is important to remember is ride with confidence. Just be confident out there, act like you belong there because you do, like we said. The other thing is have fun. We live in a beautiful city. Overall, it's a fun city to ride a bike in. Obviously there's always things that we can work on here in Worcester, but it's fun. It's a nice place to ride a bike. Plenty of hills if that's your thing, as we all know. Almost forgot. We were supposed to go for a cafe ride. Today we're headed into Crust Bake Shop. Great little place. Super yummy treats. Some coconut, chocolatey, melty awesomeness. So good. This place is amazing. Anything you get in there is just great. And I've got a nice little lemon chai iced tea. Cafe stop. Off the bike for a few minutes. Can't beat it. So, nice refreshing drink, refreshing ride. Thanks for joining us, episode 11, Worcester By Bike. Just wanted everybody to know that it's, not always about racking up the miles or getting to destinations. Sometimes it's just about riding around, having fun, making an excuse to get a tasty treat and a drink. See you next week.